Hey guys, TK here. I've been saying for a few days now that I was going to make a video on the Betrayal League mechanic, my sort of experience with it, my understanding of it, what I've been doing with mine, and yeah, this is that video. Welcome. So I'll start by saying this is not really a beginner's sort of guide. It's not, you know, if you're very new to the league and you don't understand what Betrayal is and how it works at its sort of basic level, then maybe you want to go and watch another guide first and then come back. Obviously, you definitely want to come back and watch this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. But this is more of a sort of advanced guide on setting your safe houses up for profit. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. How have I set mine up? Well, that's a good question, guys. I've set mine up so that I'm only running intervention and research safe houses. And why are you doing that, CK? Well, that's a good question, guys. Let me answer that. So intervention is good for scarabs. Scarabs are very good for juicing up your maps. You get lots of different types of scarabs, but more than anything, they're very profitable as well. So if you want to make some monies, then this is a good way of doing that. So that's why I'm running intervention, and then for research, I'm also making monies off the pure breach stones that you get from it that fled. Let me turn my relationships off so it's a little bit easier to see. Yeah, so it that fled gives pure breach stones at rank 3. You definitely, very important to have rank 3 as indicated by the 3 stars on the portrait there. Otherwise you don't get the pure breach stones, you get like the enriched or whatever, or the, I don't know what they're called, but they're horrible. So the pure breach stones, rank 3, very important. They sell between about 100 chaos and a couple of exalts depending on which breach stones you upgrade. Very profitable there. And you also want to make sure that it that fled is in the leader position, so you get to upgrade 2 instead of 1. If the fled was sort of down here where Tor is, for example, then you only get to upgrade 1. So make sure he's in the red square up here, which indicates the leader position for research. So you get double the juice. Feels good, man. And that's why I'm running those 2 safe houses. Let me talk about which members are good in those safe houses. So obviously for research, it that fled, very good. King, definitely want, or queen, I don't know if it's he or her, but maybe it's an it. Yes, it that fled. That makes sense. So you definitely want it that fled in the leader position. But as for down here, I'm only running 2 total members in research, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But I'm running Tor at the moment for the gem XPs. I got an Enlighten that I'm upgrading. But I think I'm going to swap to maybe Corel after I've finished upgrading it for fossils. Pardon me. I was doing Varici before down here for 1 to 3 white sockets on gear. I had a sword that I wanted white sockets on. Took me like 10 goes to get level. Oh, I've got. Wait a minute. I've got to try out. I'll ignore that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm making a video, guys. Don't disturb me. All right. So where was I? I'm lost. Oh yeah, so I was doing Varici, the white sockets, you can do that, and then probably the only other good one, in my opinion, would maybe be Leo for the free slam. You get to use it like an exalt on a piece of gear, I think. But you can have a look at one of the Betrayal cheat sheets if you want to know all your options and sort of pick from there. But those are the ones I would recommend. In terms of intervention for the scarabs, I go Haku for the strongbox scarabs, the ambush scarabs. You get up to 5 additional strongboxes in a map, which is a lot, especially if you have the strongbox sextant. It's a huge amount of items and quantity in the map. I do Rin for the cartography scarabs. Chimeria for the sulfite scarabs. Chimeria is probably the ideal one to have in the leader position, and I will change that up before I run the safe house for the sulfite scarabs, because they're the most expensive at the moment. You get 2 scarabs instead of 1 for the person who's in the leader position. And then I'm also running Gravicius and Jorgen. Grisius for the divination cards, scarabs, and Jorgen for the bestiary scarabs. I'm running Jorgen because I wanted to use the bestiary scarabs myself. I think they're only about maybe 11 or 12 chaos each at the moment, so not too expensive. And I think I'll swap out to Tora for the Harbinger scarabs once I've got my Enlighten fully leveled. Yeah, it's up to you. There are other people who give scarabs as well. Varicha gives Shaper scarabs. Once again, you can look at the Betrayal cheat sheet for all the possibilities. And I'll link a Betrayal cheat sheet in the description of the video down below for your convenience. Now, as you can see here, I've only got 3% intelligence for my intervention. I've just run a safe house, and I've only done a couple of maps since running it. I've already got Rin to level 3, and I've put Chimeria in the intervention division. So hashtag progress. Feels pretty good. Now, let's talk now a little bit about blocking. Very important. If you haven't heard of Safehouse blocking, then you need to get your head out of the sand, my friend, because it's where it's at. Now, there are two. If you ask me, there are two sort of parts to blocking, I guess. The first part is the division blocking, and the second part is the member blocking. So let's talk about the division blocking. As you can see here, I've got a safe house ready for transportation, but I'm not going to run it, and that's where the blocking comes in. I'm blocking it at the moment. By not running it, it means that while I have this safe house button available, this faction or this division transportation cannot show up in any maps or areas that I enter. So that essentially gives me, because intervention and research are the ones I want to run, it means those are the ones I ideally want to encounter in maps as much as I can, so I can get intelligence for them, I can rank up their members, get them ready to run the safe house as quickly as I can, basically. So the more I encounter these in maps, the better. And while I have transportation blocked, I have a 2 in 3 chance of encountering one of these good ones in my maps instead of a 2 in 4 chance or a 1 in 2 chance. And if I have the fortification blocked as well, then it's a 100% chance that I'm going to get one of these. Now, this stays blocked for, I think it's 3 maps or areas, and then I lose 10% intelligence, and it goes down to 9% like fortification is at the moment, and I'll have to get some more intelligence again to block it further for another 3 turns. At the moment, I've got Elrion's down here. He is in fortification, as you can see here. I'm just getting some intelligence. He's down in jail. He's thinking about what he's done. He's been a bad boy, so he can wait there. He's got 3 turns left, and he's giving me 7 fortification intelligence per turn. So in 2 turns, I'll have this blocked as well, which is pretty nice. Now, so that's the division blocking. Oh, and obviously you never want to run this safe house up here, because that'll reset your entire board, and that is a very bad thing, very big no-no. You do not want to do that. And yeah, so let's move on to the member blocking. I'll start by saying, so down here you can see I had in the last intervention safe house that I ran, Grisius, Jorgen, Rin, Chimeria, and Haku were all in here. And because when I interrogate the leader of the safe house at the end of the safe house, so I can get in to get all my loot, it resets the safe house, and it goes to, by default, there's 2 members, and that was Haku and Rin from the base, or the default sort of members at the start, just after I ran my safe house, and all the rest of the members go down into this pool of unallocated members down here, as in they're not allocated to a specific division, which is where Grisius and Jorgen are at the moment. Chimeria was also there, but as I said before, I just moved him over in one of the last maps I ran. Now, having unallocated members down here means that for whichever map I run, I'm basically guaranteed to have an unallocated member show up as well, to sort of help out that division that I encounter, and then I'll get the option to put that member into the division that I encounter in that map. So let's say I run a map and I get fortification at the moment because I can, because of it doesn't have the safe house available, and then Varici shows up, and then let's say Gravicius shows up as well. I'll have an option over here, and it'll say +1 rank to Gravicius. Gravicius moves to fortification. That's not what I want, right? No, I want Gravicius over in intervention. So if I were to run a map and get an intervention, and let's say Chimeria was to show up, Gravicius shows up to help Chimeria, and then I get +1 rank. Once I've killed them, I can go +1 rank to Gravicius, and Gravicius moves to intervention. I definitely want that. All right, so that's a good thing, and that's basically what I'm after right now, getting Gravicius and Jorgen into intervention. And because I'm pretty sure it's 100% chance for a member who is unallocated to any division to show up in an encounter, as long as the division that you encounter isn't already full. Full is 5 members, by the way, so leader +4 sort of subordinates. So at the moment transportation is full, and when I run intervention, that's full as well. So as long as the division that you encounter is not full, then I think you're guaranteed to have an unallocated member of the Immortal Syndicate show up to help, and then you can put that member in that division. So basically, the member blocking prevents, let's say Leo, Wolf of the Pits, wasn't part of transportation, and he was unallocated, he was down here, and maybe Vagan as well, right? So that's Leo, Vagan, Gravicius, and Jorgen. That's 4 unallocated members. Then what if I run an intervention? Chimeria shows up, and maybe the 1 or 2 unallocated members show up as well, and it's Leo and Vagan. I don't want them in intervention. In fact, I don't want to interact with them at all. They smell bad, and I don't want any part of that. So if they show up, it's basically a waste of a turn where I could have had Gravicius or Jorgen show up, or both, and put them straight into intervention where I want them, and then I'm well on my way. Hashtag progress. That's where it's at, and that's what I want. So to prevent that happening, and just increase my efficiency in getting my my next safe house after I've just run a safe house, just stacking them up, getting the members in, ranking them up, and getting the intelligence. In order to increase that efficiency, I'm blocking all these members over here so that I can just get these guys, Gravicius and Jorgen at the moment, into where I want them as fast as possible. Alright, so that sort of covers blocking. Hopefully, there's a little bit to digest, but hopefully you guys have a big glowy brain and you guys can absorb all that information. Hopefully I made sense. So let's talk about relationships. Relationships, Pepe hands, what's that? Well, good question once again. So there's 3 types of relationships. Let me turn my relationships on. So, well, I mean, arguably there's 4. This yellow one just means that they're sort of wait a minute. Wait. These yellow ones just indicate that they're part of the same division, right? That's not really a relationship. I don't consider that a relationship. I consider these relationships. So you've got the red lines, which is or it indicates, it's indicative of members hating each other. They are rivals, and you'll see rivals or rivalries show up on the right hand side a lot of the time in your options when you have just defeated a member in a map. They'll say, for instance, maybe on Chimeria it'll say Elrion, like +3 ranks to Chimeria, -3 ranks to Elrion. Elrion and Chimeria become rivals, or maybe it's even something else, and then Chimeria and Elrion become rivals, right? And then if they're rivals, indicated once again, as I said before, by the red line, it means that, so if I run a map and I get an intervention division shows up, and Chimeria is the one who shows up, because Chimeria and Elrion are rivals, or even because Chimeria and who's this Guff over here is a hard line to follow, but this one up here, if you keep following it with your eyes, it goes up to Guff. because those guys are rivals, or even this one here. It doesn't, I mean, it can be the same safe house. You can have rivals within the same safe house. That's fine. Chimeria and Rin are rivals, and Rina and Haku are rivals. If they're rivals, then they can show up to hinder the member who originally showed up. So, for instance, Elrion or Guff might show up to hinder Chimeria, but they still attack you. So just be careful. Don't just assume that they're on your team. They can still kill you. And yeah, they can show up. And depending on what sort of relationship members have with each other, you'll have different options available, after you've defeated them. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. The next type of relationship is trusted, which is indicated by the green line. And trusted members can also show up to help their allies. So once again, if I run an intervention, Chimeria shows up. Maybe Gravicius comes, or Hillock. This line here, hard to follow once again, or this green line over here, which leads to Corel. Maybe those guys show up to help Chimeria try and kill you. And then once again, because they're trusted instead of rivals, that'll also give you different options after you've defeated them. And the third type of relationship is neutral, which is it has no line. Right? So they're neither rivals nor are they trusted, nor are they friends. So there's no line, for instance, between Jorgen and Chimeria. Now, let's talk about rivalries. I base my my strategy. I base it around rivalries, and this is because I've noticed a couple of things. First of all, what I've noticed is that for a while I thought that if they were rivals, they couldn't be in the same division as each other. A bit of a mind blank there. I thought they couldn't be in the same division, and I thought that only trusted members showed up to help their friends, but that's not actually the case. So I was avoiding it for a long time, but then I decided to try it out, and it is so much easier now to set up my safe houses to get them rolling. And what I've noticed is that the more rivalries you have, the more often. So if a member is rivals with each other, then you'll have the option to. So for instance, here you can see that Rin and Gravicius are rivals. And so if I run an intervention and Rin shows up, then Gravicius shows up as well to hinder Rin and also to try and kill me. Then I kill them both. And I talk to Gravicius before I talk to Rin. Then I'm pretty sure I'm 100% guaranteed to have a +1 rank to Rin. +1 rank to Gravicius. Gravicius moves to intervention option. So I avoid. Basically, I avoid the removal rivalries in the Immortal Syndicate and the +4 to intelligence. Rin and Gravicius become neutral. Those sort of options, you'll see those pop up now and then. And I avoid those like the plague. I want as many rivalries as I can get. And what I've also noticed is that I'll often get on the last person I talk to. If I've talked to everyone else and I've chosen an option for everyone else, the last person I talk to will often give me, I think it's if they are rivals with the person who initiated the encounter, they will sort of out of spite, this is how I think of it, out of spite of that person, they will give intelligence based on their rank towards the initial member's division. So they can even give it towards their own division, right? So, for instance, Chimeria and Rin are rivals. If Chimeria showed up and then Rin showed up to hinder, and then try and kill me as well, and then I talked to everyone else who showed up first, and I talked to Rin. A lot of the time, she will give me on the right hand side. There's an option to just straight up plus 32 to or 14 to intervention intelligence. Just straight up, right? And you can really level it up quite fast with those options, which is another good thing about the rivalries. And sometimes you can even get 44. If it's a leader of another safe house, or another division rather, if it's a leader of another division and they're giving intelligence on a separate division, you can get up to 44 intelligence in one click. That's almost half your total intelligence, which is insane. Super fast to level it up. But once again, if I'm just looking for blocking, I often, you know, as you can see, these guys are all rank 3, right? Rank 3, rank 3, rank 3. Vagan's rank 2, Guff is rank 3, and that's because more often than not, I just, you know, straight away, if a transportation shows up, if it's not blocked, I don't even have to interrogate these members for their intelligence. I just, you know, I go betray, 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 which is on the right hand side. And it'll be, you know, it'll often just be already max rank, has no effect. You know, I'll click that anyway, and then I get to the last member, and it'll be like plus 14 to transportation intelligence. And I click that, and I go boom, I got a safe house, right? And I didn't have to D-rank anyone. As you can see here, I've got Haku as level 2. Sometimes I do D-rank, it's still a viable option, but I try to make sure that at the least, they are rank 2, because every now and then you do get an option that's like +1 to intervention members, -1 to transportation members, and if they're rank 1 when you go -1 rank, then they go down into here to the pool of unallocated members, which is, once again, as I talked about before, not what we want, because then we have to wait for a transportation to come up or a fortification to come up and hopefully get that member sort of show up and get them into that division. So we don't want that. That's just messy and fiddly, and we don't want it to try and deal with that. So yeah, that's sort of my experience. I'll go through. I'll make a bit of a cut here in a second. Hashtag video editing. Not very good with it, so we'll see how I go. But I'll show you some of the options that I've been taking a few screenshots over the last couple of days of options that have come up in my maps with my encounters with the Betrayal, and I'll just talk a little bit about each option and whether or not it's from trusted relationship or maybe a rivalry or even maybe a neutral. So hang out for that, and I will see you guys in a minute. Alright. Hey guys, I'm back. Did you miss me? So this is the first of the screenshots that I was talking about, and let's jump straight into it. So as you can see here, I've got the option, which is I talked about this option earlier in the video. I'm dying. Oh god, sorry about that. Okay, so Jorgen and Vagan become neutral, and then I get +4 transportation intelligence. Currently, so Vagan's over here, as you can see, a little bit hard to see because the line sort of disappears behind the pop-up, but there is a rivalry between the two of them at the moment. And even though I get +4 transportation intelligence, well, I mean, I definitely don't want to do this, right? Because as I talked about before, but the rivalry is king. It's very good. You definitely want to go for as many rivalries as you can. And I do get 4 transportation intelligence. First of all, though, I don't need it. In this instance, I've already got full transportation intelligence. Second of all, it's pretty negligible. It goes down to 90%. When you lose the safe house once the block is over for the 3 turns, so +4 isn't going to get you your block anyway, and I could just interrogate one of these members, and then it gives me all the intelligence I needed. Or once again, talking about the straight up flat intelligence option for the +14 intelligence, or the +30 intelligence, or the +44 intelligence. That'll give me a safe house straight away as well. So bad and bad. So you definitely want to avoid this option right here. And okay, so this here, as I said before, once again, rivalries are the best. Trusted, not so good. So some of the options you can get from trusted are okay, but generally speaking, the rivalries are far better. But this is the only time I would ever take a trusted relationship. So be where Rin moves to intervention. Currently she is unallocated, and I do want her in intervention for when I run my next safe house, and this is going to do that for me. So I will definitely, I did click on this option. As you can see, I've already got it highlighted. If you look at the two buttons, you can see that bargain is highlighted because my mouse is already on it, and I was ready to click it straight after I took the screenshot. I believe you only actually get this, as you can see, there's no line between Haku and Rin. I believe that this option is only available when they're neutral. Not 100% sure about that, that's just my theory at the moment, but if you guys have any more information on that, I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the only time you're going to get this option. Alright, next one. So in this screenshot, you can see here that wait, where's Rin? Okay, Rin and Haku are trusted, which is this green line here. And because they're trusted, I have this. It doesn't guarantee that this option is going to show up, but it's definitely a large possibility if they're trusted that this option can show up. So Rin removed from the Immortal Syndicate. Obviously, I do not want to click this. Bad things are going to happen. It's going to remove Rin, put her into the pool of members who are in the Immortal, well, not, they're part of the Immortal Syndicate, so to speak, part of the Betrayal League mechanic, but they're not on your board, and they're not currently part of the Immortal Syndicate that you're dealing with. So it's going to put her into that, those members off the board, and then I'm going to have to remove more members until I get her back, and then I'm going to have to rank up those new members as well. Put them in, it's a whole mess. It'll take you forever to fix. Do not click this. Alright, even if this was Leah, actually I think I'm going to move on to the next screenshot, because I think that was just, I took this to show that that was in fact the relationship between the two. Okay, this option here, so this is Haku once again, and it's this time it's Leo removed from the Immortal Syndicate. So as you can see over here, Leo is here, and this green line here, which is once again hard to follow, it does go to Haku. So if I go to my next one, you can see that the line continues onto Haku. So let's go back. So Leo removed from the Immortal Syndicate. They are trusted. Once again, this option is a large possibility when they are trusted, but I don't want to click that. Even though I don't really care about Leo, I'm just using him as a member block. I don't want to do this because it will remove him off the board. It'll pull in one of those members from the pool of members who aren't currently part of the Immortal Syndicate but are part of the Betrayal League mechanic. It'll pull one of those onto my board, and then I'll have to I'll have another member down here with Jorgen and Rin, who are unallocated, which I talked about before is a bad thing, but it also means that I have to get that new member into transportation or fortification and block them again, rank them up. It's just a whole hassle, and I don't want to do that. I also don't want to do the Haku in prison for 3 turns, because these are both bad options. Actually, the first picture I showed you with Jorgen down here, these are both bad options as well. In both of these cases, I would just run away. If it's the last member I have to talk to in the map, then I would just run away, just keep doing my map, not click on either. That's totally fine. If it's not the last member, which in this case it wasn't, and you'll see that on the next screenshot, I just move on to the next member, then maybe if I click an option on the next member, then I'd maybe come back to see what this option has changed to. Otherwise, I keep running. So this is as you can see down here, it was taken at the same time, and this was just the next option. So I talked to Haku. I didn't like either of the options, so I moved over and I talked to Leo. Once again, definitely don't want to do this. As I talked about before, same thing as with removing Rin. I don't want to remove Haku, and I didn't choose to imprison Leo. In this case, I could have definitely just deranked him and waited for the intelligence for transportation. I didn't choose to. No particular reason behind it. I probably should have, but I remember not doing it because I remember I was focused on the screenshots, and I didn't go back to look at what Haku had as his new option. I think I took this yesterday, but yeah, I definitely don't want to do that. So in this case, I ran on. There was still 2 members on the ground, and I just kept running my map. And then when I put my new map in for the next map, I got new options, another encounter. And this was part of the encounter I got. So actually, it might not have been the next map because it's like 20 minutes later. Slow mapping feels bad, man. Okay, so this is another option that you can get, and this comes from a trusted relationship as well. So, ooh, it's hard to see. Let me go back. So I'm looking at Corel and Vegan here. So if we go back, Corel and where's Vegan? Where is he? Okay, here we go. Trusted relationship, right here. There it is. The green line. So let's go back to the picture. +3 ranks to Corel, which doesn't actually do anything because he's already maximum rank, and Vegan loses all ranks, and then they become rivals. So this is good. This is a good option to pick when you're initially setting up your board. You're trying to get all your rivalries. I'm sort of at the point where I don't really need any more rivalries. I've already got plenty, and I'm sort of in a good spot in terms of that. And if I D-rank, well, firstly, if I rank up Corel, it doesn't do anything to Corel. All it's going to do is D-rank Vegan, and it'll put him down here with Gravicius and Chimeria, which, once again, I talked about that before. I don't want that. It'll just make me have to rank up Vegan again. Nothing changes except I get that rivalry, but I don't really need the rivalry between those 2 members because they're just members that I'm blocking. Okay, and that's all the screenshots I had, but let's go back to my PoE screen. And I do want to quickly go over something that I said I was going to talk about before, and then I forgot to. So just to quickly finish it up, the reason I'm only running 2 members in research is because when you run a safe house and you get to the end of the safe house, and you have to interrogate the leader of the safe house to get some intelligence for this. In order for the gate to open so you can get into the loot room. And when you click the interrogate button, which should be right here, it D-ranks the captain. So in this case, it that fled, it D-ranks the captain, or the leader, sorry, of the safe house, and puts them in jail for 3 turns and gives you intelligence for this. But it also takes them out of the division and puts them into the unallocated section. Now, if you only have 2 members and you don't have any current, when you run the safe house, if you only have 2 members and you don't have any members currently unallocated, for instance, in this scenario, I would have Gravicius and Jorgen already in intervention, which is very easy to do, because a safe house must have by default 2 members at the minimum. It'll when I click that D-rank button or the interrogate button, it'll put Tora into the leader spot, and then it that fled, instead of going, or I guess the way the system works, is that it will put it that fled into the unallocated, but then the safe house goes, okay, well now we only have Tora in the safe house, we need 1 more. We'll pull a random one out of the unallocated members, and because it that fled is the only unallocated member, it just pulls it that fled straight back into the research division. So you can perpetually just 100% have 100% of the time have it that fled in research, and then all I need to do is I rank up Tora once, so she's rank 2. So when I D-rank her, it that fled becomes the leader, and then Tora doesn't just become unallocated. She stays within the division because she goes down to rank 1. So she stays in that division. That's how I usually do it. And then Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. There you are with it that fled in the leader spot on research again. So it's just a little bit of quality of life, makes it a little bit more efficient. By no means do you have to do it. I'm trialing it out for a while. It's pretty good. I think I'm liking it at the moment, but if you wanted to have more research members, that's fine as well. It'll just make it a little bit maybe a little bit more tedious, just ever so slightly, when you're trying to set up your safe house again, just sometimes. But yeah, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. That's just what I'm doing at the moment, and hopefully you guys learned something from this video. And if you have anything to add or any questions to ask, feel free to post below. I'll definitely answer any comments, any questions in the comments that I can. And once again, I'll post that Betrayal cheat sheet in the description. If you guys have any other questions that you don't want to post, or if for whatever reason you find that I'm not answering on YouTube, you can come check out my stream, twitch.tv/ck__. Happy to answer any questions there, or you can join my Discord. I'll post a link to that in the description as well. I'm always on Discord, and I'm always happy to answer any questions. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys later.